Everybody is going to start talking about their New Year's resolutions because it is almost January 1st. And so today I thought it would be like a really fun idea for us to make shrinky dinks and pretend like that's not happening. So let's make some shrinky dinks. We are going to be making shrinky dinks that you can turn into pins or charms. And I am specifically going to be making my resolutions pins. That's gonna have all of the things that I want to get done this year because my only goal for this year is just to be nice to myself. So let's make some bad art. I bought all the stuff to make a bunch of shrinky dinks so that my partner and his family could FaceTime and make shrinky dinks together as a family on Christmas Day. But I have also been making a bunch of shrinky dinks and they're really, really fun. And I've been using UV resin to put like flowers and stuff in them and add backs. So this one is literally just a thumbtack and an earring back. So if you want to do this at home, you might already have all the stuff that you need to get started. If you have ordered takeout lately, check the containers, check and see if there's a number 6 recycling logo on there. But if you want to buy Shrinky Dink paper, they totally make Shrinky Dink paper. I have 2 different brands here. This is Shrinky Dink Rough and Ready, which means you can color on it with colored pencils. And this is graphics. They're like thin like transparencies, but then they shrink down and they become this like really hard plastic. And this is a ruler that I made so I would know how small things shrink down to be. So this is a 6-inch ruler that's been shrank down. If I make him and he is about 2 inches, that means he's gonna be about this big when he's all done. So what you'll need is some number 6 recycling paper, paint markers and Sharpies. These are by Graffiti. They're like off-brand Posco markers. Some paper for you to make your amazing designs with. And then I'm gonna be tracing this today. I've been doming mine using this UV resin. You don't have to do this. I've just been stuck at home. I'm gonna start by taping my paper to my design so it doesn't slip around. So I really wanted to do this drawing specifically because it is all about being kind to myself, being kind to your inner child, and being the type of support that you need. I talk a lot about this on my podcast, but so much of last year for me was just learning how to be nicer to myself. It's not easy. I still get really mad at myself a lot for like things that I've said in the past. I get mad at myself about just having feelings in general sometimes. Like if I get mad or frustrated and I show it in any way, I end up getting really upset with myself. So I made this piece, and my favorite thing about this illustration is this ended up being my 2nd most purchased print in my Etsy store this year. And so many people were buying it for friends, buying it for themselves. And my favorite thing about it is people kept including gift notes to themselves saying like, be nice to yourself, you're trying your best. I am gonna talk about New Year's resolutions just because I made them last year. And I really liked the idea of branching out and being more independent. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start eating in restaurants alone. I'm gonna take a solo trip somewhere. I'm gonna go on a vacation. And it was my first time actually making a resolution that was like bigger than just, I don't know, like a single idea. Like I had a whole mood board dedicated to all the things that I wanted to do. And I think this was like a thing for a lot of people where it ended up not being the thing that I was able to do. And I am not going to try to make productivity resolutions this year because some of the resolutions that I made last year were work-based. It was like, I want to finish this project, I want to finish that project. And I think now more than ever, the emphasis that we need to have is just on being nice to ourselves. Because if you are a person that values your worth based on productivity at all, there is just the slightest chance that at some point when things start feeling less scary, things start opening back up, we aren't going to be in survival mode anymore. And you might end up starting to feel guilty that you didn't use your time. I don't want to say wisely, but like if our inner dialogues were talking to us and not being kindly, that might be what they say. But it's really important for you to not judge yourself for having not been more productive. I think it's okay that some people were really proud of how much they were able to get done during the pandemic. I just think it's more important that no matter how much work you did or didn't do, that you're able to find space to be nice to yourself regardless of how well you did or didn't do. And I'm not just saying that for you, I'm saying it for myself too. When I think of self-compassion and self-kindness. It's taken me a long time before I'm also not mad at myself whenever I'm not showing my self-kindness. It's kind of like learning to meditate. One of the things that they talk about whenever you're learning to meditate is, yeah, you're gonna, you know, let your mind wander sometimes, but it's really important for you to not judge the fact that you've let your mind wander. Just try to bring your attention back. And I think it can be harder with self-compassion because it feels like a setback. Letting your mind wander is just part of being a person. But whenever you're trying to be kind to yourself, it can feel like a setback to slip up and say things that aren't nice. And then sometimes I will be unkind to myself for having not been more patient with myself. And that's not really the point of self-compassion either. So the one New Year's resolution I have is just to be kind to myself. So if you have a hole puncher and you would like to do it, you can punch holes in it. Otherwise, you're gonna preheat your oven to 325 degrees. Put them in the oven, and this is real time. I am not speeding it up. It happens really fast. I think each one of these was in there for like maybe 45 seconds to a minute. I just wait until it looks like they are flattened out in the toaster oven, and I count to 5, and then I take them out. Immediately cover them with another piece of parchment, and then I put a book on top of them just for a couple of seconds to make sure that they stay completely flat because they do warp a little bit. I'm trying to show you what it looks like inside. My toaster oven is dirty and I didn't clean it for this tutorial. I'm okay with it. It's my biggest one. I'm kind of nervous. Oh, it's curling. They came out so good. I put the camera in the wrong place. We're done. These are all of the pieces now that they've been shrunk. They're smaller. We made them smaller with magic. If you did decide that you wanted to use a hole punch to put little holes in any of them, you can turn it into cool things like keychains. The Sharpie might be fine, but I think that the paint markers will eventually flake off. So you might want to protect it with something like Mod Podge. I'm probably going to use UV resin. These were cured just sitting out in the sun, and that's how And I won't show you how to do it in this video, mostly because I am not taking all the safety precautions that I probably should be when working with UV resin for the sake of making the tutorial. You can use a UV light, like the kind that you can buy for doing manicures with gel nails, or you can have one of these little UV flashlights that I have just for putting the back on, and it creates this nice hard plastic. I'm gonna take my list, I'm gonna flip it over on the back, and I'm gonna paint it in white so it looks like a proper piece of paper. Oh my god. This is so cute. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this. If nothing else, it is so satisfying to watch shrinky dinks in the oven. It just, oh, it is. I've watched so many videos of people making shrinky dinks, and I just wanted to make them with you. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I will see you next year. Bye. The sun came out. Of course it did. Of course the sun came out. Why wouldn't it come out? Why wouldn't it come out? Take 2.